I see. Did you think I wouldn't find you?
I'll feast tonight. If I ever get my claws on that None can stand against me.
Your fate is whatever I decide.
Dire team pick.
Ten seconds! It's Radiant's band now.
Timber Saw!
Ten seconds to go! 5 seconds left! It's Dyer's band now.
into a Rolling Thunder, it might be their shortcoming.
So then hypothetically, if you could swap out this Timbersaw for in a vacuum, what type of hero would you have liked more? Just is it the stun thing that's most bothering for you?
I was personally leaning towards leaning towards Sand King for 5-rad instead of Timbersaw, because it would have picked the Villa for early tower defense. That have given them that stunner, given them a hero that can play up until Tiny is ready. But it seems like they're more confident with this Timbersaw, and it's probably just because of the lane versus Teenager's Prophet. We talked about how important it is. They come out of the lanes alive and kicking and breathing, and it might have been harder to recover from that lane as a Sand King.
You're going to your question as well. I think I'd have probably said Timbersaw. Probably would have changed the Viper boss.
Yeah, that's also
when you get to your fourth pick and you're looking at Pugna. Sorry, go on.
The Viper is definitely looking quite awkward now.
Yeah, that's the thing, right? When you have a Pugna opening in a draft, even though it's very good meta-wise, you need to understand how to get it into the game, because you soon feel 2-3 picks deep. You're like, okay, but because we have the Pugna, we now need to have the Conquer style hero or the Mars or the Tiny, So the fact that you've got to your fourth pick and you're countering the Furion with the Timber, it is a difficult spot to be in. I am favoring Quincy's lineup right now. But again, there's still one more pick to round this out. And I'll think about maybe what that could be. But again, difficult position, I think, draft-wise for 5-rad.
So then, Effie, do you think that it was more of a comfort thing that they wouldn't go for the traditional Pugna Storm opening that we're seeing so frequently these days?
I'm not sure entirely. I'm going to assume that it's always going to be comfort for a team like 5-rad. Any team that gets recently promoted from a division is going to bring out heroes that they feel safe playing on, especially if they're going up against Quincy first and foremost. Guys, do you think Venomancer is viable here? Because I'm thinking about what vessel buyer can Quincy Crew pick up right now. Brewmaster, that's a vessel buyer. That's a lot of fun too.
Yeah.
Again, a Fata specialty, right? Because he's the player that will happily play Brew or Pango 5, and also easily both can be interchangeable for 3. So they're kind of discussing keeping it a little bit open. But going back to the point of the Furion carry, I really like the idea of IO Lesh with a Furion carry, because the weakness of Furion often is after laning phase, you kind of need to farm for a little bit to get that first item to then want to enter the game outside of course, pushing objectives. And IO Lesh just gives you so much room on the map, so much ease of entry to the game that Furion can join any fight they want. And sure, they go for a Terrorblade, which
this is not a good TV pick. Sorry.
Again, no, I agree. It's carry to carry. On paper, if you actually get to do a proper fight, TV is going to have fine time. But into the Pango, into this Leshrac, the Brew's now flipped to core, so very aggressive in the offlane. I'm worried that there's no room on this map to find the farm. Sure, Timber might be walking down a lane, but that's not protecting your jungle. That's not protecting Terrorblade from farming. So again, I am favoring Quincy Crew in this lineup. I think they've got all the tools to exit laning phase and just occupy the entire map and play with the discipline and speed that they had in game 1.
This is a pretty wild Terrorblade pick, in my opinion. They're playing against the super high pace from Quincy Crew, and they're also playing against Brewmaster. But I guess that's the genius of this Brew coming out as 9th overall, because whichever carry that they pick last, it's just going to get flown up in the air. Worst case scenario, if it does go into that late game. And I'm going to be looking towards the Timbersaw. How much space and how much can this Timbersaw actually do for his team? He needs to buy them some time, and he needs to buy time for that tiny blink dagger, and hopefully they don't drop too much objectives early on the side of 5-rad. But yeah, I'm heavily favoring Quincy Crew's lineup.
Same. I feel like the Terrorblade against Brewmaster matchup, your illusions are going to get insta-gibbed by the Storm Panda Dispel magic in lane, especially if this Brewmaster goes Vessel, which, seeing as how it's a core Brewmaster, it's probably going to get a pretty early Vessel. That's a ton of magic damage that you're going to have to deal with just one hero. And then I know that the Leshrac Terrorblade matchup, where is the Leshrac Terrorblade matchup these days right now, T? Who does it favor?
Lesh slaughters Terrorblade for the first 20-odd minutes.
Okay.
But if Terrorblade has the correct heroes to isolate the Lesh, kind of put distance between the two, Terrorblade can play into it. But I favor Leshrac naturally just for the fact that you can steal the jungle.
In a vacuum, Lesh can't really run into a 6-slotted Terrorblade because he just gets punched by all the meta illusions. Sure. But it's not going to get to that point in this game.
Exactly.
Lesh is just going to run around and just not give him space, run into his jungle, not give him any neutrals to even hit.
Well, let's get into game number 2. 5 Rat 4 Staff versus Quincy Crew with Moxie and Purge.
What an introduction from Tsunami. Well, Purge, it sounds like our panel is very much not loving the draft coming out from 5 Rat 4 Staff, especially the Terrorblade pick. But can you give me something positive here? Can you give me something where, you know, maybe they can make it work?
Pugna Ward is good this game. There's a lot of magic damage that they can reduce. Last Track is not going to have the best time against it, so that part's kind of good, I guess. They're playing Viper mid, which is nobody does that typically. Typically they slap that in the off lane, but instead it's going to be mid. I don't know. I'm not seeing a lot of great things, but maybe the TB lane, maybe the Timbersaw's lane will go okay. Fingers crossed. Do you have any hope?
You know, I mean, one of those things that I talk about whenever we see these players coming up from the lower div is seeing them on heroes that they're comfortable with. So maybe it doesn't make a lot of sense. And this is just really hard, right? Because this is Quincy Crew. This team plays so well. Yes, they have some different players, but they're just known for their high skill plays and their execution. So it's always going to be a little bit of a struggle. But, you know, perhaps these are some very comfortable heroes for them and they feel like they can do more with it. And maybe it'll be a little bit less of a stompy game.
Yeah, that could be it. At least like if Tiny 4 has a good time, and Tiny 4 did have the most success for Tinies at the major, maybe that can get a lot done. But it kind of scares me when you need these like 4 position heroes that need to have a good game when you're playing against teams that are on paper better than you, because that means you're more likely to come out of the laning stage with a bigger disadvantage that can really hurt things. Quincy doing a great job fighting bottom though, preventing Lil Nick and Giant from getting close to the creep wave. Just getting utterly bullied here. And in the meantime, your war is going to continue denying and stuff. So this feels real bad for Nick, I gotta say.
Poor Tiny Nicholas. This is not going to be the easiest lane for him here.
Yeah. This is pretty normal though. Giant's going to go pull the creep wave and they'll match that up later on. Fada's already grabbed the new creep wave and he's going to pull them together. So that undermines that advantage. So that's nicely done by Fada. And they actually did miss 1 creep. So that is a little bit worse for a 5 Rat 4 Staff as well if they don't get that one. Maybe it'll snipe a courier.
It almost did last time.
Yeah, it did. It's on the way.
On the way. But yeah, definitely Fada doing a great job of just zoning, interrupting these pulls, messing around a bit, so. Bottom lane.
Well, we'll see how the Viper mid goes, though. I mean, it hypothetically could get a kill on Leshrac. It kind of depends on whether or not he gets hit by the Split Earth. Viper mid is just kind of falling off because there's just not enough space really to chase people down and abuse the poison attack in the same way. And you can kind of out-regen the damage you do take using the water runes. So as a whole, it just hasn't happened in a long time. People just don't Viper mid anymore.
Do you feel like this was a situation where 5 Rat 4 Staff had an idea of how they wanted to approach this game, and then they got a little bit too wrapped up in trying to counter or adjust to what the Quincy Crew team was doing?
Yeah, that's very possible, but it kind of just depends on matchups maybe, because once they saw the enemy mid, they're probably like, all right, well, I guess we can just put a mid instead. It's hard to say without necessarily being in the calls, or maybe they're too worried about dealing with the Nature's Prophet with Viper, for example. Could be lots of things.
That's definitely possible. Middle lane is looking real bleak for the side of 5 Rat 4 Staff. We have 15-2 on Lesh, 6-2 currently on the Viper, so that feels a little bad. We do have a little chasing action though after this courier. Can Giant get his hands on it though? Is the question. Gotta hustle there, buddy. A little bit more. There we go. Doesn't even look like that fist even touched him.
Easy cleanup there. Just a Fada courier though, so not that big of a deal. No big problem there. Fada gonna go check to see if this small camp is blocked. It is not, so he is safe to pull if he wants. On the other side of the map, Brewmaster plus Io is kind of cool. Brewmaster does have some laning needs that he needs fulfilled. He can struggle a bit if he needs to buy a lot of regen, because usually you don't end up buying any regen items on this hero. You just get an urn and you start working towards your ags basically. But with Io, he should be able to lane just fine. He's relatively tanky with his aura, so should be able to lane just fine against Terrorblade with this extra heal.
I will say, despite the fact that this bottom lane has not gone super easily for Timbersaw, he is still managing, to get these levels. Doesn't have the best of CS, but it's not the end of the world here. It's looking pretty decent despite everything.
It's going okay for them so far. I'm kind of worried about what it's going to be like 5 minutes in the future here, but we will see. A little ward ping there. Yeah, Quinn knew exactly where those wards were. Fada's going to instantly deward them. But Quinn kind of getting chased down here. He's got a 5-stack near Roche. And it gets reapplied right before he gets into the tree as well. And the nether toxin.
Almost.
Oh, so close. Oh, he TP'd mid actually.
Okay, all right. He's fine.
And Fada has a salve for him and has a backup salve too. He's been playing 5 while he's been teamless, so he's ready to go.
He's been playing the music and denies the water run over there. Okay.
Yeah, because he didn't want Tiny to get it, so he was like, well, whatever, I'll just deny it. Tiny didn't grab it in time. Nothing really lost there. Tiny's mana's full, so not a big deal. But this has given lots of space for little Nick to get solo experience. That part's pretty good for Nick. That way he can basically lane away from Nature's Prophet. So this is likely what they were concerned about, is losing that lane.
It does have the Soul Ring and the Bracer online for Timber. Getting a little bit more space. Pretty quiet game otherwise, though. Most people pretty content with just farming up, getting these levels online. Not seeing anything too wild just yet. No first blood either.
Yeah, so 5-4 staff with this lane swap. Maybe Viper's not getting the best laning stage so far. In fact, he's pretty far behind, 19-9 versus 34 or 35-5. But Nick has gotten good net worth. And as long as they get like 1 successful gank off or 2 on Leshrac, then they could definitely offset this. And now that speed is picked up level 6 on Viper, he's got enough kill potential, certainly to get the kill, especially if they do like an Avatos back. The only salvation for Quinn in a lot of cases there is going to be TP, and he doesn't have a new one coming. So this could be an opportunity to kill him.
Gonna try to put a little pressure over here on the rune spot. Tossed back. There's the rune. It's available. Giant is ticking down to Quinn. That was pulsed up. There it is. There's our first blood. They'll use the Viper Strike over onto Quinn. But I think they need a little bit more damage here.
Illusion.
That was kind of close.
Around.
It was cool how Fada played that. He looked kind of dead to me, but uses the swashbuckle to jump to the high ground. It's away from speed, so they can't continue dealing damage. And then MSS also rotating helps secure Quinn by keeping him regened up. So, it's going better for 5-4 staff than the previous match, without a doubt. They're definitely counteracting those rune rotations a bit better. Last game, it resulted in like speed dying, the towers dying immediately afterwards. This game, it's a little bit different.
I'm really loving the choice of heroes here for UR, because in game number 1, right, we saw the Templar Assassin who made the rotation towards the mid lane to help put pressure down. And then, of course, when you have a Nature's Prophet, you're going to see him make his own moves, and he's also going to put pressure in other lanes. So I enjoy seeing this for sure.
Yeah, but you got to get the kills first. I mean, he's currently pressuring the off lane, and it is going to fall down. Let's cleans that one up here.
Chase after Fata here, Giant, trying to close the gap. Pretty quick though. A little bit of a toss from Nick. He's got the Timber Chains, got the Chakra. Will slow down Fata a little bit with the Avalanche. They should be able to secure themselves a nice pickoff. But guess who's here? It's Quinn and MSS, and they're just gonna run down Giant. It's a rolling boulder, but he is gonna just get crushed.
Yeah, all you can do there is press the taunt button. Once he gets into melee range, good luck. So, yeah, they make the Leshrac work in combination with the IO, very similar to like the Pugna combo, just all this extra mana. Leshrac can use it really fantastically because he just does so much damage with his ulti.
There's a nice little bottle service too coming from Fata. He had teleported back, refilled the bottle, and Quinn can continue doing what he likes here. Got a lot of sources of regen. Would have liked that regen, but isn't there for it, so that'll get snapped up by Albino Zebra.
So, their network's not the worst on the 5-4 staff side. I think they should be pretty content with where they're at. Once again, a D-ward there by Fada. Nicely done. But they're defending their safe lane. So they have tower advantage right now on the Radiant side, which is slightly abnormal. Net worths look decent for them. Leshrac scaling throughout the game should be really solid, especially if he brings it to Terrorblade in those mid-game fights before he gets BKB.
Fox is just having a great time over here. They even saw him being up there and they couldn't do anything about it. Giant in the bottom lane is gonna tick down. Quinn's gonna try to teleport out. He's gonna be just fine.
Tormented.
Yeah, he can tell speed one with that kill.
No, he still got it. Still got it in the fountain.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh, nice. He did buy a cloak to try to offset it a bit, but yeah, a lot of magic damage reduction or magic resistance reduction from the poison attack, and I guess with the Viper strike was enough. I'm surprised.
I think he was a little surprised too, but tried to make play. And he can drop the Pugno ward over here on the side as they'll make the plays over onto Albinus. Even they use the split, so no Pugna here to defend this tower now.
Yeah, that one feels a little bad. Once he splits and you're Pugna, you're like, there's literally nothing I can do. I'm extremely dead.
I mean, that's also one of the issues with the draft coming out from the side of 5-4 staff is that they just don't have a lot of lockdown, and they don't have a lot of ways to kind of shore up their jungle either. You saw that DNM told that thought, the avalanche from Giants, shotgun from Nick, they might be able to do, no, they just, this is the problem, where's your lockdown? They're just gonna teleport out, and you can't do a damn thing about it, 5-4 staff.
Ooh, they need an Atos or a Yules or something, but it's just so early for that. In the same vein, Tiny kind of does have to do these Avatosses. It was a great Avatos, but if nobody else on your team has a disable, then you're going to be really thinking about the Atos on speed. But it's been more traditional on Viper to go this like right-click hybrid build. You don't really buy Atos anymore. Maybe they'll get a Yules on Timbersaw as his follow-up item, but that item is kind of a sometimes thing on the hero. It's okay this game. But they need more disable, clearly. Quincy Crew has been so ready to TP out from the start.
Got the Hood of Defiance completed now for Quinn, even more survivability. When you couple that up with, he's got the raindrop still. He's also got an IO to help back him up. It's gonna be difficult to deal with this Leshrac.
Wonder what build he'll go. He might upgrade the Hood of Defiance, but personally, I don't really think Eternal Shroud is that good. It's kind of been overshadowed by Bloodstone in a lot of cases for Leshrac. I think buying the Hood alone, absolutely worth it. This game against the Viper and the Tiny and the Pugna with the IO backing him up. But I don't know, we'll see if he goes for the full upgrade or if he transitions and gets something else instead.
Vlad does have a completed Vessel on him, but does have to be a little bit careful. Nick chasing after.
He asked for help, and at the very same moment he gets gone on, they smoke and run over.
Gonna wait patiently. Quinn and MSS making their way over. Start up here at the Edict. Pulse Nova. Nick is just getting burnt to a crisp.
That was cool. They were very patient about how they did that. Like, Leslau didn't go aggressive at all early. They waited until Quinn and MSS were all the way behind him before they went for that, before he revealed himself with the Cinder Brew. So, very cool. Get one kill, and now we get to pressure the tier 1 tower.
Very efficient movements coming out from the side of Quincy. I do love how, like, absolutely just aggressive Quinn and MSS is, right? Because that's one of the things that's a little bit difficult sometimes with the Leshrac is that you're running out of mana, or maybe you take too many skirmishes, you got to back off for a bit. When you have an IO there, it really makes it so it's always go time, and it's really fun to watch.
Especially with the Arcane Boots, because it's already a great mana regen item, but if you're tethered to IO, you're just giving yourself, it makes your Arcane Boots like twice as good. So just IO being there is, and you buying your normal items, the mana that you're getting is just massive in comparison to your normal setup. Speed is pretty well positioned here. He could go on MSS potentially. And there's the initiation. It's 1 poison attack. He will deal 64 damage. He wasn't ready. Needs an ally there. Maybe a Tiny there could have given him the opportunity.
He's being pincered upon, and they have that split. And the split Earth on top of that. Speed's just gonna get ticked down. That's another kill going here for Quinn as the fight continues. Blau has got the trees over here onto DNM, but on the back lines, you see that they're going after Quinn. They will finally get the kill. DNM, though, he's not looking too healthy. Get the Rolling Thunder coming out from Fata. They need a little bit more damage. The Pugna was keeping him alive, but there it is. The Swashbuckle will clean up. And MSS, there we go. That's the issue. They can just teleport away. Although they are chasing after Nature's Prophet. They've already used the Avalanche. And pretty fast little piggy as they do toss up into the Earth Chakram, cutting away. Io is here, though. Is it going to be enough to keep you around? Oh, he's sitting so The chakram comes through. They'll get the kill on UR. And now they'll end up losing Giant to Laszlo. The relocate will bring the IO back out again, and they're still going here. Fanta sees himself this Pugna. He's dropped the ward, does have the life drain. And doesn't matter though, Laszlo will smack him across the teeth and say, don't touch my teammate.
So they got some kills at least. They're keeping it kind of close. Only a 1k advantage for Quincy Crew after that. Lil Nick was the crucial hero in that fight, securing the kill on Quinn. They got him low many times. IO provided some great saves across the board, but ultimately Lil Nick's damage was what they needed to win that fight. The big loss though is DNM on the backline kind of just died without getting much impact. I didn't catch how he died, but he got killed by Fada, probably during Rolling Thunder. That was that big counter. It's just a big problem for him. So at least Lil Nick is getting some net worth to help bring it towards Quincy Crew, but at some point it's going to have to be DNM carrying that weight. Otherwise it'll be too hard for them to win fights.
It was a bit of a strange fight because it was so separated over on low ground and high ground, but definitely don't want to be losing your safe lane core in that manner without having that impact. So pressure being placed over onto the mid tower. Slough's going to drop that Cinnabrew over on the ground, see if we can push them back a bit. Fanta in position. Does have the Rolling Thunder if needed. Considering it as Quinn rejoining. Needs to take down the ward. Does get decrepified. Wrath of Nature getting tossed out as a little bit of an opening. They'll be able to take down the Pugna ward. Quinn respecting speed. Backing off just a little bit here. As well as jumping forward here with Fanta. Gets the split off. They know that they have to get rid of this Viper, and they'll turn their attention to Tiny and finish up over on speed. Now this Pugna's left all alone. He's decrepified, but it doesn't matter. Quinn gets himself a triple kill.
I mean, they were positioned okay for this push, but unfortunately Tiny didn't yet have Blink Dagger. He was standing in vision during daytime because he kind of felt the need to stand there. I almost wonder if it would have been better if he was hidden. And the other problem is they put the Netherward on the high ground, which meant that it was pretty easy for Quincy Crew to deal with it. They basically poke it, they decrep it. Once decrep's done, they kill it. And then once they landed the Spirit Vessel on the Viper, they're like, oh, this guy's very killable. I mean, they pumped heals in him from Pugna, but it didn't make a big difference at all because the healing he was getting was being reduced by so much.
They really wanted Lil Nick there, but they were a bit lacking.
Gave him the butt, dude.
Bit lacking on the stuns as well there in that particular engagement. DNM doing the best he can to get outside, try to hit some creeps. Has to be careful though because they do have this global threat. Of course, the relocate is down, but there is a Nature's Prophet in the game that they always have to be aware of. He's being occupied though currently. Nick's just gonna cut down the trees. Chain forward does have Laszlo here. Chakram again doing a lot of damage. Followed up with the Avalanche. They'll get the kill before they end up losing UR. The Crepify being used over on Laszlo. Nope, not going to be able to make it because they do have a way to cancel the TP.
Finally, the hard counter, the TP interruption.
They do, but this is not looking great here for Speed as there are 3 heroes and they are more than happy to remove him from the map.
He's done some good damage to the Leshrac, but yeah, he's got the Bloodstone finish. He says, what is the better spell lifesteal item? It sure as hell is not Eternal Shroud. That item sucks. Remove it from the game. That's what I want to see in the patch.
Maybe it'll get buffed. Maybe it'll be better.
It's just too similar. It does like the same thing. It's a survivability item that gives spell lifesteal, and one of them is always going to be better than the other. And right now, Eternal Shroud sucks. It's not nearly as good. It doesn't give you raw HP. Spell lifesteal it gives you is fine, but it doesn't double. So get it out of here. I don't want it. It gives you mana, but so does Bloodstone. They're like literally the same item. They're very, very similar.
All right, well,
that's why it's garbage.
Maybe if you wish hard enough, Ice Frog will listen to you and give you a special present. I doubt
leave out a plate of cookies for Ice Frog when he comes down the chimney and delivers the patch to me.
Oh, I love Patchmas Eve. Such an exciting time. All right. Well, about 18 minutes in. Quincy Crew is looking very good here. And, you know, the Timbersaw sitting at 8.9k. He's been able to get out there. But Quinn definitely running away here with this net worth.
Lil Nick's definitely carrying his team right now, though. He was very instrumental getting those crucial kills. With that said, though, he's got the right hero for the game. He's very difficult to kill. They don't really have that much magic burst outside of the Leshrac, and it's very easy for him to like chase down a lot of these heroes on the Quincy Crew side. So Right now, it's been hard for Speed to play Dota, that without a doubt. He's the guy that gets focused on because he's slow. He can't really be covered that much until he gets BKB. If he does get
Gonna get thrown up into the air with a tornado. You can see Giant waiting patiently with the avalanche, but they go and they throw out the Viper Strike over onto Fata, so Fata will fall.
That was nice. Little Nick gets pressured really hard there, but they defend him well. The Nether Toxin is down. Speed gets a ton of damage into Fata. They clean him up. But
get thrown up into the air with a tornado.
With MSS with a nice save, jumping in, popping mech on the Brew, getting his split off, but not being able to punish more than just Pugna. Made that actually a good fight for 5-4 staff, and the fact that they're honestly holding this game close. Little Nick gets pressured really hard there, but they defend him well. The Nether Toxin is down. Speed gets a ton of damage into Fata. They clean him up.
They keep bouncing back, they get stronger.
The fight started with MSS with a nice save, jumping in, popping mech on the Brew, getting his split off, but not being able to punish more than just Pugna. Made that actually a good fight.
Fight again over here.
Honestly, holding this game close. They get pressured really hard.
We have another fight.
The Toxin is down. Speed gets a ton of damage into Fata. They clean him up.
They keep bouncing back,
Just
they get stronger.
their fight started with a nice save, jumping in, popping mech on the Brew, getting his split off, but not being able to punish more than just Pugna. Made that actually a good fight.
That global strategy.
It's cool.
BKB is now completed
cool.
for you are?
It's not cool if you're a 320 movement speed Viper, though.
No, you're not. Oh man, we've seen some real slow Vipers today. It's felt pretty bad.
Yeah.
A tide to the impurities.
Venomancer earlier just dishing out the slows on top of everything else. Fata hunting though, knows that there's a Pugna ward.
Radiant's
I'm
bottom
gonna try to see if he can find Albina Zebra. We'll find the ward instead. I'll clean that up for the rest of his team, and the tower goes down.
A tower no more. Radiant's bottom.
Yeah, the Nether ward kills feel real good. They have okay ward hitters so far. Like the Io alone, he's like pretty much not doing shit in fights anyways, right? Just into like getting ready to press mech. So
He's a Wambulance.
he might as well attack the Nether wards. He is. Turn on the overcharge, get some attack speed, slap that ward. It gets cleaned up pretty quick.
Yep.
Decrep helps, but it's not going to give enough coverage.
Curious to see. Okay, they have that one Treant chasing Giant, so they are aware that the Tiny's nearby, and there is some pincering action coming out. They saw DNM. Look at Giant's courier. No wards for him. No smoke. I love how fast they respond to this, though. The way that Quincy Crew, they have vision. They see that, maybe they're going to set up something on you. Let's move over to that area and make sure that, they can't get anything.
That is pretty solid, yeah. But on the bright side for 5-4 staff, DNM is caught up pretty well on net worth. Still far away from where Quinn is sitting, but he's getting a lot closer to Nature's Prophet. So once he finishes Scotty, that's where things get a lot easier.
It feels good to be this good.
Did Fata mess up?
I don't know.
I think he messed up. He was like messing with his hotkeys, I think. I'm not 100%, but this might have been one of those times where pros are like, oh, I'm going to keep canceling my ability. Okay, it's too late at this point.
Yeah,
I wanted to see, like, what did it look like when he began his rolling boulder? Oh, the clip doesn't go back far enough, unfortunately.
I think it's safe to assume that he messed up.
I think it was a mess up, but it's not a big deal. Pretty low cooldown ability, 75 seconds, so he will be A-okay. Oh, here it is again.
Just bumps right into that one little center. There's nothing really there. And they
I think he was just messing around. He was messing around with his hotkeys for sure. Like he was doing the cancel, the stop cancel. We've seen him do it a bunch already this game. He was so far away from the enemy squad. I'm certain it was not.
I'm sure
it was probably just a mistake.
I'm sure it's fine.
It does not impact the game much at all. Loses some mana, little cooldown. Team still ahead. but they're positioned decently well. Maybe they lost a small ability to take a fight, but they still get D-wards here. Oh, he even plants the flag on the ward that he killed. Impressive. The D-wards that instantly plants the team banner right on top of it. That's where it was.
Just rubbed a little more salt into that wound.
Exactly. Ooh, almost BKB for Viper, though. Boy, does he need it. Pugna running for his life.
You can't run, Albino Zebra. They're coming for you. I think that's even overkill that they went and teleported in, to be quite honest, but they might as well.
Could have learned a lesson from his opponents. He had just TP. Brew would have had to pop split to get that kill. As long as he started teleporting before the relocate came, then he would have made it out. But yeah, it's okay. Just a little cheeky 5-position death. BKB's up on Viper. Speed went for the book. No support books, only for him, the Viper, who's struggling. I think it's actually fine. You don't really need that many more levels on Tiny or Pugna for them to be viable. So.
Did he see Giant? He has sent to the trees over into the side, but perhaps he thinks he's already teleported away. UR doesn't have any way to cancel out a TP.
Doesn't have a dust either, and UR's working with the Shadow Blade, so counter pressure is unlikely to happen. But small net worth advantage for Quincy Crew. They're compounding on it just a little bit. Fada messed around again.
Fada loves that part. He loves sitting on that high ground. Second time here.
It's perfect, right?
Well, we do have, for a glimmer of hope here on the side of 5-4 staff. They have the Scotty completed now for the Terrorblade. D&M doing a great job of being able to get out there on the map, sitting in the bottom portion, trying to mirror as much as possible and avoid. Does manage to get himself that Scotty, which is a good item and desperately needed.
Yeah, it is like the game winning item here. I mean, it's no surprise at all that he's buying it. Most agility cores buy that thing, but against these range cores, it's incredibly good. It provides 60 attack speed.
Radiant are scanning for enemies.
You were never going to be president.
Dire's bottom tower is under attack. Dire's middle tower is under attack. Dire's bottom tower don't look good. Radiant structures are fortified. Dire's bottom tower is under attack.
Precious bounty.
Mad song.
It feels good to be this good.
Radiant's bottom tower is under attack. Roshan has fallen to the Radiant. Radiant's bottom tower needs a hand.
Approach it.
Dire's middle tower is under attack. Radiant are scanning. How does that even work? Hey, where's Dire's bottom tower?
It feels good to be this good.
You! A tithe to the impurities.
Dire's bottom tower is under attack. Dire's bottom tower is under attack.
Regeneration. Feed the tree.
Dire's bottom tower is under attack. My thanks.
Warriors of the wood. Fear in your eyes. Rival split!
Dire's structures are fortified. Dire's middle tower looks to be disintegrating.
Where did you come from?
Dire's middle tower is falling. Dire's middle barracks could use a friend. Or 5.
The seeds of fortune. The spell is poised.
The story written in blood.
I could look at you all day.
Fear in your eyes. Bottomed up! Use the might!
Radiant are scanning for enemies.
Good. Tough.
Precious bounty.
Dire's top tower has fallen. Dire's top barracks is falling. Dire's top barracks are feeling the pressure. Dire's top barracks has fallen. Enough!
Immortality.
Is this how Dire's middle barracks fall? Looks like it. Dire's middle barracks has fallen. Dire's middle tower should be disintegrated. Dire's middle tower is falling. Radiant's courier is dead. Wonder what Dire's bottom barracks are under attack. Dire's middle barracks has fallen. Dire's bottom barracks had so many enemies. Dire's middle tower is fallen. Dire's bottom barracks has fallen. Radiant now have measurements. Dire's about done for, right? Unless they pull out some miracle.
Onward.
Prepare for battle!
I go in silence. I'm not ready. Silent as mist. That was my thought.
There are more to come.
First,
Always for the dead. As
now that you're dead, I find it easy to...
The dark things are fighting are not the monsters.
The rest is deep as forest shade.
Torn from the me now mindless to the power of the moon. Five guile and blood. A song 5 went into battle. Guile and promise fulfilled.
My bow is strung.
Another lost to the power of blade. The moon has sung. 4 have
I
fallen.
know I should respect the dead, but first you have to earn.
Fire and 5 went into battle, and fire John mindless to the power of blood. The story and John mindless to the power of the moon's dark promise fulfilled. Fire and went to battle. What 5? The darkest thing. 5 mindless to the power of the moon. Another walks under the breeze.
I get carried away.
The moon has sung to the slivers of the madman. Drive us to fire and promise. 5. They rage on. The moon mindless to the power of fire.
We were different as day, night, silence. One united. Night's procession. I come to feed. I descend to walk among
Feeding time is over.
to battle. Your prayer answered.
Rage on. Mindless to the
They're
power
trying to
of
knock
the
down your middle tower. You and a couple of friends could probably stop that.
blood. 3 bile and
The enemy's attacking your middle tower. Don't let him do that!
4 have fallen. There's 5 great. The main Five went into battle. 5 went into battle. 5
Onward. God taketh away. Sound advice. Bye.
butchery and blood. The mad bile and bluster. They rage on. The story mindless to the power of the moon. Powerful. 3 kills, as foretold by the man. And blood. You, bile and are the darkness powerful. The moon's dark promise fulfilled. They rage on. 5 mindless went to into the power battle. Of the moon. The moon has sung. 5
Mortal.